Hey, aloha. How's it? And welcome. The Spirit of Sports. This is Brother Richie coming at you. Think we're going to go biblical. Think I'm going to go 6 days a week. Take Sundays off from the show because Sundays are so busy taking notes, watching the NFL, watching the kid. So 6 days a week coming at you live every single day. 6 days a week. It's right 100% of the time, half the time. This is Brother Richie. This is just past high noon, Monday, October 23rd, NFL season. Just started the third quadrant. If you want to bust the season into thirds, I just gave my grades on Saturday of all 32 NFL teams. So we will regrade coming up around week 12. Lot going on. Got my backseat quarterback today. Also got recap of all the games. The Spirit of Sports, Brother Richie, live from the middle of the Pacific Ocean, Hawaiian Islands. I'm not going to tell you where exactly. One day you'll know. Just want to say thank you so much. I'm up to pushing 100 subscribers now. Slow roll on this, so bear with me. This is my career. This is what I'm going to do. I'll be here every single day. Maybe Sundays off. We'll see. Go biblical. Don't work on Sundays. Got my beavers, got my golf, got my kids' work. Added the brain over here. High five, kitty. How's it, kitty? High five. We are here trying to get guests on Wednesdays, talk story with Brother Richie. For now, backseat quarterback. We all know backseat drivers. That's during the game. And I'm going, what the hell are you doing? Or good job. Usually it's what the hell you're doing. We all know Monday morning quarterbacks. That's, oh man, I would have done that. So backseat quarterback. How I'm feeling during the game and what I feel the next day. Let's get right into it. Seemed like not quite so controversial on the backseat quarterback, but I do have a little bit of things that make you go, Not so much under the hood, but a couple, things that make you go, We have an interesting fact about one of the officials for the Sunday night Miami game. We'll get into that later. Backseat quarterback. First of all, I want to say Cleveland. My $25,000, $100 entry survivor pool had Cleveland. Got off to a good start, had the 9-point lead in the third quarter, gave up the long touchdown to Pittman, and I'm just going, oh crap. And we needed PJ Walker to lead a drive and get by with a little help from my friends, the officials. I get by with a little help from my friends, the officials. Thank you, Cleveland. Survivor pool, you sweat them out sometimes. That's how it works. I'm feeling good. I still have KC, San Fran, and Baltimore left at my disposal. I saw a good one, Baltimore, 4th and 1, under center play action, QB, keep it around the left, touchdown. That's how you do. Get under center, say set hut, and run something. Not out of the shotgun. Not, hey, blue 82, blow, hey, false start, because we're sitting in the 3-point stance for so long. On the ball, set hut. I'm going to say this every single Monday. I might say it every single day. That and incontrovertible evidence. Incontrovertible means it is not questioned. If the referee in New York has to go under the hood and look at a play for more than 30 to 45 seconds, then you have to stick with the original call or change the rule and just call it the Vegas rule. We'll talk about Vegas a little more too. They went 12-3 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, 9-3 so far on where the money was. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. The New England game is a big New England and the Sunday night game, things that make you go, coming up. Early on, the Detroit game at 7-0, Baltimore 14-0, Baltimore 21-0. They go 3 and out 3 times in a row. And my first thought is, come on, Detroit. Don't pull a Detroit. And guess what? Or do. Wah, wah, wah. And I think they'll bounce back, and I think they're better than that. I don't think Baltimore's that good, but I have had them as a Super Bowl contender, and I have been saying since the preseason, once they work through the cobwebs of this new offense, Lamar's going to be the man. Lamar's the man. I think that's just a sneak peek of what's gonna be for Baltimore. In Detroit, you could say a crappy D, and they were last year, but they were a top 5 defense this year. And they just did not look good. So Detroit, I think they'll bounce back. They're home for the Raiders next week, Monday Night Football. If you're going Survivor, that just might be the one. 9-point favorites. So, yeah, Detroit, just come on. Don't pull a Detroit. Don't Detroit it. Don't Charger it. They did. It's okay. Detroit fans, you're going to be fine. This is a learning lesson. Like Dan Campbell said, nobody likes this to happen, but when it does, it brings you together. And I believe that it will, and I still believe in Detroit. Penalties, 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 penalties. Only had 12. I'm going to do some random. 12 in the Cleveland game. How about Atlanta? 18 penalties in the Atlanta game. How about Pittsburgh Rams? 13 penalties. How about Chargers KC? Only 10. It's pretty sad when you say only 10 penalties. That's 2.5 a quarter. I get sick of, when you see a referee, there's only one referee, mind you, he has a white hat. A lot of people say, come on, ref. I say, come on back, judge. Because I'm a little bit educated in that. But I understand the referees. But when you see the white hat and you start to get sick of hearing the guy's voice, and it's time and time again, and even the announcers are saying, yet another penalty on the play. And the Monday night game that I went to last week at SoFi between the Cowboys and the Chargers, from the first quarter on, me and my friends were keeping track. There was never more than 4 plays without a flag. The whole game. And I'm not saying that it ruins the game. I'm not saying we're not going to watch, but it sure is effing irritating. And it sure does take away from the flow of the game. Some of these guys just want to be on TV. I don't know. Penalties, penalties, penalties. There was a show of the field, I think it was Sunday night, and it was just expansive green and 3 flags in a triangle, and said that just about sums up this season. Then it takes them, 3 to 5 minute huddle to figure out. Sometimes the referee comes up with almost like a scared look, like, I don't know what the hell's happening. I guess it was holding on them. Even the KC game last week, they walked it off the wrong direction. And the official had to apologize to the crowd and to TV. One official got interrupted because there were so many crappy calls of guys trying to talk some sense into one place. Hey, I'm talking to America here again and again and again. So I don't know. Maybe just get some handle on that penalty, and it saved my survivor pool. But when Walker, not sure if it probably would have been a fumble, game over, and the guy barely bumped the guy in the corner going into the end zone, 25 yards away from the play, and he wasn't even looking his direction. Some of those, it's just unnecessary now. Basketball, it can be a charge or a block this way, or a block and one, and that's 2 or 3 points. And it usually doesn't really affect the outcome of the game, maybe at the end of the game, but those are rare. When you're taking away 80-yard touchdowns, you're taking away, huge plays that have a huge ramification on the game. There's no other game that the officials control more. In baseball, unless you're George Brett, once you do something, it counts. You hit a home run, there's no, upon further review, it was an illegal pitch. The ball's in play, the ball's in play. NBA, there might be a blocker charge or, called it off the wrong guy. And at the end of the game, it can make a difference. In the NFL, you take away big plays and it affects the whole game and it affects seasons. And I think they got to get a control on it because as a fan and as someone that does this for a living, it is effing irritating as hell. Penalties. See this all the time. I don't think I've talked about this yet, but this is one of my pet peeves. Guy coming in for a sack, full speed. All the quarterback does is juke or bend down. And the guy's all air ball. Coming under control. Nothing worse, especially against Patty Mahomes. There's nothing worse, bro. Then you're coming in, you have a wide open line on the QB. You're going to get a sack. Your eyes, I know you want to blow them up and your eyes light up and the adrenaline's flowing. Come in under control, break it down. Don't let him get around you. How many times, especially on third down, it's going to be punt time. And you just go fly right by the QB and he gets away and runs for 17 yards on 3rd and 16. Or gets away and throws a first down pass. It's like you have the easy sack. Don't lay the guy out. Just tackle him. Keep him in front of you. Even if you slow down and keep him in front of you. Even if you don't get the sack, he'll throw it away. I know you want to hit the QB, but you got to come in under control. That's debilitating. It's defeating to the defense, to the fan base, to the coaches, to the players. Come in under control. Make the play. Don't worry about taking his head off or getting the big hit. I know it looks cool and might make Sports Center, but more often than not, it's going to cost you possession. It might cost you some points. It might cost you a game. Come in under control. Make the play, especially on the quarterback. I can see missing tackles on Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown. I can see that. When you're coming full speed at the quarterback and he just does one little juke or barely ducks, it's just so frustrating. Yelling at the TV. So we were talking about this. Would Mahomes have been great if he went to Cleveland? Would Brady have been great if he went to Detroit when they were 0-16? Isn't where you go in the scheme and the players around you and the defense behind you, doesn't all that make a huge difference? I always wonder. And also, is Carson Wentz really that bad that we have guys like Bagent and Hoyer starting NFL? Bagent looked pretty good. Don't get me wrong. We guys like that starting NFL games. Brian Hoyer. Is Carson Wentz? Maybe he is. Is he that much of a locker room distraction and cancer? Is he that much of an a-hole? Mac Jones, pretty much an a-hole, and he's still starting. And nice game, by the way. Nice drive. Knock some people out of the Survivor. But I don't understand. Carson Wentz doesn't have a job. Just, 5 years ago, he would have been MVP. And he got the Eagles in position to go to the Super Bowl. They were screaming MVP. He was the best quarterback in the league. 5 years later, he can't even get a job. And he wasn't that bad with the Colts. 21 touchdowns to 7 picks. Just Irsay wanted him out because Irsay's Irsay. It's just makes me wonder, could it be that bad? Sam Howell, can you get rid of the ball? And Sam Howell, how many times did they run? Sam effing Howell. He scored 7 points. Threw the ball 42 times and you ran the ball 15, 17. Why is Sam Howell consistently throwing the ball 40 to 50 times a game? Mr. Come over from KC. I guess you know what? The only team that consistently throws the ball twice as much as they run the ball and consistently win is KC. I guess when your OC comes from KC, then you're going to throw the ball. But it's Sam Howell. Sam Howell is not Patrick Mahomes. You have a pretty good D. I bet they get winded when it's just 3 incompletions, a sack, and then it's punt time. That's Washington. It's unbelievable. 2 weeks ago, 51 passes on that Thursday night game against 51-6 passes to runs. Wouldn't you sit the guy down and say, come on, bro? Wouldn't you sit, what the hell's his name? I got to get my names. I'm looking it up because he was at KC, and I'm sorry, my 50-something-year-old brain. Washington OC. He's from Washington coordinator. Leftwich. Didn't even have to look it up. Byron Leftwich. What are you doing? Is it Leftwich? Bieniemy. Okay, sorry. Eric Bieniemy. And the funny story, back in college when he played for Colorado and my Beavers played him, and I was listening to Daryl Lonnie on the radio, and every time Bieniemy on the carrier, I say, why is he calling him the enemy? He really must not like this guy. I mean, I know we're playing against him, but it's not like it's the Oregon Ducks. Then I realized later, and he even said partway through the broadcast, now you people might not understand, but this guy's name is actually Eric Bieniemy. I am not saying the enemy, but Eric Bieniemy. What are you doing? How do you throw Sam Howell? I mean, he's decent. Brian Robinson's an animal. Gibson could get some run. And you throw the ball 51 times in a 20-point loss. I know you're down. You're down 10-0. You're down 14-0. You don't have to abandon the run. And everybody does, and I don't understand it. That's why me and my friends, and like, I'm not going to say the average fan, but the elite NFL fan, I truly believe, is smarter than a lot of these coaches. And I'm saying it, and I see so much dumb stuff. That's why we have backseat quarterback. So I see all this dumb ass shot happening. And I don't understand it. And it costs games. 42 passes to 14 rushes. What are you doing? And the guy gets sacked 5 times a game, and you're dropping him back 42 times in 7-step drops, and he doesn't get rid of the ball. Figure out a scheme, bro. It's irritating. Oh, you got a job. I don't. I know this stuff. You have a job. I don't have that job, and I'm smarter than you. And I know it's the heat of the moment, and that would be hard, but you got to run the ball and get the ball out of his hands. Have a scheme where it's 3-step drops. McLaurin on a slant or a quick out. Not with a crappy line and just getting 5, 6, 7 sacks. How many sacks did you give up? 6 sacks. So that's 47 dropbacks. Makes no sense to me, bro. What's their record? Pathetic, dude. Who was 3-4. Buffalo, understandable. Could have beat Philly. Chicago, there's no excuse for that. And to get beat by Giants are pretty lowly with a backup quarterback. And I put it on scheme. You know, KC doesn't look the same. Maybe it's because Bieniemy, when you have Patrick Mahomes, you got to realize what you're working with here. You got Patrick Mahomes, sure, throw the ball twice as much as you run. Not Sam Howell. Not a backup. Not Minshew last week, 51 passes. Unbelievable, bro. These guys, they just don't get it. How do we get it and they don't? Tell me, how do they get it and we don't? Can you tell me? Moving on. So, what was the game? It might have been even college. The offense breaks the huddle, and then all of a sudden they want to do a substitution. So then the defense gets to do a substitution, and as that's happening, the play clock's running, and it's 3rd down and 1. And they're on the ball, but, since they did a late – why are you late substituting when you're on offense on 3rd and 1? Why? Then the defensive guy, and he doesn't have to hustle, so he's just jogging out, and then all of a sudden delay a game because we substituted. Now it's 3rd and 6, and I think it cost them the game. Might have been 3rd and goal. End of the game situation. Substitutions. Get on the ball, say set hut, and run it down their throat and never substitute. And then they can't substitute. Set hut. Set hut. Set hut. On the ball. Set hut. Think of that 4, 5, 6 times. What's a D-line going to do? Then go play action. You got a backup quarterback. You can't bellyache that, our QB got hurt. It's up to you. Coaching staffs make $10 million plus a year. Figure it out. Figure out a scheme to put who you got in a good position to at least be successful. Just because your quarterback gets hurt, you're not getting blown out and just blaming the injury, because injuries is part of the game. Have a backup plan. Have a plan. Set hut. Pathetic, bro. What was Cleveland 4th and 1, and they run a pitch out and at least catch it, lose 15 yards, 4th and 1 pitch out. I don't mind the call, but catch the toss. He kind of did the overhand, nice little toss. How about catch passes? How about don't make dumb penalties? How about don't fumble the ball? New England, Kendrick Bourne with 4 minutes left, and you're just trying to run the clock out. How about don't interfere? How about don't hold on defense? How about don't chuck the guy 7 yards down the field? How about just make the play? It's just Raiders showed how they should be. There's no way they have 3 wins this year. I don't believe it. They're going to go 4-13. They're terrible. Traitors, bro. The Oakland, LA, Oakland, Las Vegas Traitors. Just whine, baby. Commitment to mediocrity at best. Can't stand them. Used to be life and death. Thanks a lot, Mark Davis. Al's rolling over in his grave. Get back to the huddle. Personal foul calls, taunting. You made a play, get back to the huddle. That's like you've been there before. A.J. Brown, you've been guilty of this a few times over the last few years. Put the ball in the guy's face, or the push and shoving after, and then the guy pushes you, and then you headbutt. And they always get the second guy, and it's true. I know it's a highly emotional game. You got to be smarter than this. Get back to the huddle. Act like you've been there before. Control your emotions. Games, careers, seasons are at stake every single play. The NFL, every single play could cost you the season, could cost you the playoffs, could cost you a game. Every single play. I don't care if it's the first quarter. Tight games are tight games. What happens in the first quarter matters. That missed field goal. They have one job. Kickers don't have to tackle. Kickers don't have to block. They don't get tackled. They don't have to know shit from the playbook. All they got to do is make a field goal. And it's hard. But that's your one job. Here's another one. Play clock running down 3, 2. Oh, timeout from the bench. I don't think coordinators can call it. But running down the sideline with 0 on the clock. Oh, before the delay of game, timeout. Okay. That's got to go. Maybe the coach can't call a timeout with more than 5 seconds left on the play clock. And if it's like a field goal range is one thing in the first half, but another one, like just last week, Minnesota, 8 minutes left, close game. Something's happening, and I look up 0 timeouts. How do you burn all your timeouts in the third quarter? Play clock's running down. It's 2nd down and 8. You're at your own 30 in the third quarter. Take the 5 yards. Timeouts are invaluable at the end of games. You can't burn your timeouts in the third and fourth quarter early. You need all 3 timeouts no matter what. I'm telling. Don't call a timeout, period. I guess if you're D and you see there's 10 guys and A.J. Brown's uncovered over there, okay. Bro. Baker being Baker. Forcing the ball. He's a dumbass, bro. You know, not everybody can be Brett Favre. You don't have the arm. You don't have the demeanor. You don't have the brain. What? The one pick in the red zone. Can't score a touchdown in the red zone. Cost me my pool. I'm so close. Every week I'm right up there in the pick'em pool. Tougher. We'll talk about my picks tomorrow. I went 1-3 on my 4-pack after going 0-4 last week, after going 4-0 the week before. It's really hard, people. That's why it's gambling. Buffalo, when they're about to score, they're throwing the ball, 2.5 minutes left, 1st and goal. Wouldn't you want to get to underneath the 2-minute? I know it's Mac Jones. I know you're trusting your D, but wouldn't you want to run the clock down to the 2-minute warning? You know you're going to score from a yard out with Josh Allen. Why? And then on the other end with 2:10 and it's 1st and goal because there's a penalty. Don't you just let Josh Allen score? Are you going to really have a 4-play goal line stand, New England? Is that really going to happen? Let him score. If you're Buffalo, run the clock down to the 2-minute warning and maybe run 1 or 2 more plays so they get the ball with 1:20 and not 1:40 left. Why are you trying to score so quick? Don't leave the other team time. Did Buffalo not learn with 13 seconds a couple years ago? 13 seconds. Didn't squib kick. Oh, that was another one. Cleveland had 15 seconds, 1-point lead, and did not squib kick. I mean, squib it hard, but squib it so it's going down to the 10-yard line, but they have to field it. What else? Catch the ball. Baker's a dumbass. Oh, Kyle Pitts. When I need Tampa to win my pool, basically. Now Kyle Pitts has a play. Guy I drafted the last couple of years. And he only had 3 catches for 46 yards, but one of them's 40 yards to put him into field goal range. Now you have a big play. Kyle Pitts. He is the Pitts. 3rd and 3, 12 seconds on the play clock. You're a defensive lineman. They're in the shotgun. Said, hut, hut. Then he steps off, steps back. Blue 82 said, hut, hut. One more time, 7, 6. You know he's going to hard count. Don't effing jump off effing sides. Miles. Just the best player on the Cleveland defense. Jumps off a couple times. Give him a free 1st down. The ball's right there. Some of this stuff, I know, and you know what? Maybe I wouldn't do better. And it is an emotional game. And it's really, really hard. But I'm not getting paid. I'm getting paid to look at you and say, don't do that. I will be getting paid. You know it's hard count. You know it's 3rd and 3. Offsides is going to give him a 1st down. The ball's right there. Even at defensive end, the ball's 10 feet from you. Do not jump. Jordan Love's, I think he's not it. Ritter, I think he's not it. Even though he got the win. Arizona, 4 minutes left. 4th and 9, and you run a 4-yard out. I've seen Kirk Cousins do that. I've seen hundreds of times. It's 4th and 9. Why are you running a 4-yard out? That about does it. It's, I feel like a broken record. A lot of this is the same old shot every effing week. Figure it out, NFL. Figure it out. $10 million plus a year coaching staff. Maybe 20, counting all the coaches. OC, DC, head coach. You know, you got your running backs and line coach and quarterback coach, receivers coach, DB coach. It's got to be 10, 12, 15 coaches in the room. Figure this shot out, please. Maybe come on here and you know what? There wasn't really much, not much to bitch about. Backseat quarterback's going to be short, but no, it's 20 to 30 minutes every week. And I love it. It's my favorite segment of the week. I will get back to That's What He Said. I took a few weeks off to travel, just getting back. Traveling, you know, time warps and travel. Time flies by. There ain't much time when you're traveling. So I'm getting back in the groove. A couple things. Did you know Travis Kelce, since he started dating Tay-Tay, when she's at the game, he averages 99 yards. When he's on his own, a pedestrian 48 yards a game. So, love, what's love got to do with it? What a wonderful thing is love. Love, 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 love. Seemed pretty happy. I don't know. How long till is getting the tight end song? The tight end was too tight with his money in his mind. Couldn't give me what I need. The tight end was too tight. I can already write the next Tay-Tay song. When they break, not the next one, but when they do break up. The tight end was too tight. Something like that. Do I need to break down every game? We're at 31 minutes. I don't know. Let's just take a quick look. I'll small kind break down every game. That was my backseat quarterback. Backseat quarterback this week is brought to you by K-Town Tree Services. Talk to Kevin and he'll cut your trees. Love that guy. Jacksonville 31, New Orleans 24. Thursday night football. New Orleans, Derek Carr yelling at his best receiver. Defensive coach thought they'd be better. Jacksonville 5-2. They're like 16-4 in the last 20 games going back to that last year. Chicago puts a pound down on the Raiders with a backup unheard of quarterback. That just shows you that's what the Raiders are. Don't buy the crap. Cleveland sneaks out. How do they give up 38 points to Indy with supposedly maybe the best defense in the whole league? Give up 38 points to Minshew, who had 3 turnovers last week. And they did force a couple turnovers, had a few sacks. I don't get it. New England, I guess just a division game. This is, we'll talk about the things that make you go moment. Giants, Washington. Was it Sweat, their defensive lineman, was pissed. I'm sick of this boop, beep, and sick of this beep, and falling behind, beep, can't score, beep, point, beep, 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 throwing beep times. Understandable. It's a beat moment. 14-7 Giants over Washington. Tampa, come on, Baker. Atlanta, Tampa, pillow fight, 16-13. Baltimore put the whoop down. Baltimore. I've been calling it all year. I hope you've been listening. I just said, give it a little time for this monking offense. Click in. Still got room for improvement. I'd put them right there with Super Bowl favorites. Pittsburgh, gritty. Love them. Called it. Were they in my... No, damn it. Should have been in my 4-pack. I have Chicago plus 2.5. Buffalo -9. I thought, because usually Buffalo's like this. Cleveland -3. Should have been. Green Bay -1. That was my 4-pack. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Pittsburgh, though. Gritty win. I really like them. I think Pickett's coming around. Pickens is animal. That combo is going to get going. Seattle took care of Arizona. Just about what we figured. Kind of low scoring affair. Denver. Did they have 3 wins on the season? Is this true? No, 2 wins. Okay. 70-20. I look at that and just go, wow. All the games pretty close. Played KC. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Denver. They suck. Tell you that. Green Bay might suck worse. KC handled the Chargers. There's strife in the Chargers locker room. Apparently what? Oh yeah, a couple of players calling out Staley for running zone in the first half. Kelsey had almost 150 yards. KC eats up the zone, but I mean, I don't know if you're much better than the man, but they did have 400. Excuse me. Oh, what? They did have 420 yards passing with a defensive coach that makes terrible decisions that should have been gone when they blew a 27 lead last year, 27-point lead. Defensive coach giving up 31, giving up 400 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. I don't know if he made a whole lot of dumb calls. Herbert had 2 picks. One was batted ball. He's 6'6". Why are you having your ball batted down? But yeah, sounds like strife in the locker room. Calling out your coach for his defensive schemes. Don't hear that a whole lot. Not good. When do you pull the plug, Spanos? You know, maybe you should think back to Marty Schottenheimer days. That one made no sense. So that's a breakdown of Sunday night. Eagles just pretty much manhandled Miami. The Eagles are going to do that a lot. When you have the best offensive and the best defensive line and you go into a game knowing that, that's just a good feeling, I would think. 31-17, Miami only had 1 offensive touchdown. How many penalties? 10 penalties. 0 for Philly. They had 10 penalties. Let me tell you about this guy. There's this guy. His name is, where did I write that? Let me tell you about Dwayne Haight. He was the umpire. That's the guy that used to stand right by the linebackers. Now he stands off to the side of the referee behind the quarterback. He was suspended back in 2017, suspended for an ACC championship game as a college guy for unethical officiating, his whole crew, just for having terrible calls, I guess. I looked into it a little bit. Suspended as an official. Last night, he was the umpire in the Miami game. Miami-Philly. He had a terrible holding call that brought back a Tyreek Hill touchdown. And he had an even worse roughing the passer call. The guy took 1 step and pushed him, even held back. Even Terry McCauley said that's not a penalty. And these guys, the third guy that works for the networks that they go to, Dean Landino, whatever, even that guy said that is not a penalty. He held up. It was 1 step. And usually the umpire never calls roughing the passer. That's a referee's call. The umpire from 10 more yards away threw that flag. Referee, even you can see him saying, "Are you sure?" Kind of eye roll. Had to call it. Miami, 60% of the money on Miami. The guy's been suspended in college. What's he doing calling games? Things that make you go, hmm. And on that note, things that make you go, also known as under the hood, there have not been too many egregious overturned calls or upheld calls, which is my under the hood moment. But I had to add things that make you go, That's just when it feels like Vegas is taken too big apart. Got a couple. So we have the Dwayne Haight story. Miami at +3, 60% of the money in Vegas was on Miami. So it would behoove Vegas for Miami to lose. Against the spread, Vegas went 9-3 this week on the teams with the lesser amount of money. 3 of the 5, 4 of the 6 teams that had 70% or more of the Vegas money lost. Buffalo, I heard, was up to 80, almost 80% of the money was on Buffalo. That's spreads and straight up. At New England, huge call. Buffalo had the 4-point lead, I believe. 3-point lead. Buffalo, 3-point lead. Right after they scored, first play on the drive, Mac Jones throws a little screen to Ramondre Stevenson. Goes for 40 yards down the field. There's a flag back at the line of scrimmage. They pick up the flag, and you can barely hear, it's just like the crowd's going crazy. It's one of those, let's just get out of here. They never show the referee. All you hear is say, there is no foul on the play for ineligible downfield. Wait, what? I've been saying this for weeks. Even yesterday, they must have made that like one of their staples or something to look at, because they've called more ineligible men downfield this year, I swear, than the last 10 years combined. 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 a week. Ineligible downfield. Ramondre Stevenson goes 40 yards to put him almost into field goal range with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. First play of the drive from their own 25. 80% of the money is on Buffalo and Vegas. And they pick up an ineligible receiver downfield flag. And when I saw that, I didn't think about it during the game. But just this morning, and I went back and looked at it, and the center was 8 yards downfield as he's letting go of the ball. In college, you can go downfield if it's a screen pass. And I looked it up. In the NFL, you have 1 yard before the quarterback releases the ball. It should be 3. Give them 3. 1 yard's ridiculous. And it happens all the time. And I think I've lost 3 fantasy football touchdowns. Do the ineligible downfield, number 78. Ineligible, number 62. Number 50, ineligible. That's all you hear this year. They picked the flag up. I watched the replay. I believe it was a center. Might have been right guard. Was 8 yards downfield as he's releasing the ball. Like he thought it was a run play. I don't know. And they pick that one up. And 80% of the money's on Buffalo. And I know they didn't cover the spread, but they're looking at the money line too. The money line was probably plus 700. That's a lot. A lot of people, money line, probably everybody's going, let's just put 100 on Buffalo, just get that back easy. 8 yards downfield, a penalty that they're calling all the time, every single game, and they pick the flag up. Then the Dwayne Haidt story, Heydt. It's like bringing Tim Donaghy back, the guy that ceremoniously got removed from the NBA for point shaving, busted, cheating. NBA official. They have pretty good control of the game. Nothing like the NFL, though. NFL, the referees just control. Umpires do balls and strikes. That's the only thing. But now, especially, they call them out a second, you go look at it. Balls and strikes, the umpire can control the game pretty good. And, that's some big stuff. But there's nothing in sports that's controllable the way that the NFL is. It's the biggest bet sport. Vegas makes all their money on gambling, obviously. You think they're going to keep a multi-billion, tens and tens of billion-dollar industry. They're going to leave that to chance? I think not. A couple of things that make you go, Yeah. So Buffalo is 80% of the money. I heard 94% of the money it might get up to on San Fran, -6.5 at Minnesota. We'll keep an eye on that. Had Seattle, so the Vegas lost that one. Washington, -2.5. What was the penalties there? Ooh, that's another one I can look at. The number of penalties, Washington had 10 penalties. The Giants had 4. 76% of the money on Washington. Vegas, 72% of the money on Vegas. They only had 2 penalties. Chicago had 9. Okay, sometimes it doesn't work out. Nothing too egregious about that. 71% Jacksonville. Miami, 60%, 10-0. And that's not true. I guess there was offsetting penalties a couple times. 0 accepted penalties on Philly in a game. Dwayne Haight, the guy that got suspended in college, he's an umpire for a game that Philly didn't have 1 penalty called against them. Only 60% of the money on Miami, but Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up. Brother Richie, coming at you live. Thank you to K-Town Tree Services, supporting, friend of the show. Love you guys. Be good to yourself. Love yourself. Love everybody. Get along. Swallow the hate. There's more love. I love you, you, and you. You're cool. You're cool. You're cool. F you. You're cool. I'm out. Until we meet again. For those of you who remember, Half Baked. Classic scene. Love you guys. Until tomorrow, Julio.